Settlement loans. How to get a settlement cash advance. Overview of settlement loans. Settlement loans, also called pre-settlement lawsuit funding or legal finance, are ways to help litigants waiting on their lawsuit to settle to meet temporary cash needs. Different companies offer funding on different types of lawsuits. There are two types of settlement loans: recourse and non-recourse. In non-recourse, if you do not win your suit, you do not owe any money. In recourse funding, you will have to repay the amount you are advanced plus interest even if you lose your lawsuit. Reasons to get a settlement loan. Personal injury and other types of settlements can take a long time. Bills and monthly expenses don't slow up. Insurance companies and other defendants know it may be hard for you to wait them out and that you might accept a lower settlement due to financial hardship. These funds can be used to help pay medical and living expenses while waiting for your settlement. The insurance company or other defendant will not know or be notified that you have been advanced funds, and if you take a smaller amount initially than you may be eligible for, you may be able to get more funds later if the settlement is dragging on. The way settlement loans work. Settlement funding companies will advance funds on many different types of lawsuits. Some firms charge application fees while others do not. A credit check or credit approval is not required unless you have a pending bankruptcy. You do not have to consult your attorney before applying for funds. The agreement to accept funds will not affect your agreement with your attorney or lower the fees they are entitled to. The details of settlement loans. This may sound unusual, but borrowing money based on your claim or selling a portion of your settlement is legal. Out of the funds you receive, legal fees and medical liens come out first, but after that, the remainder is yours to do with whatever you want. Not all lenders operate in all 50 states, so you may need to check to ensure the lender you are considering does business in your state. Settlement loans amounts available. These types of settlement loans can advance you anywhere from $500 up to $1 million, depending on your case. For cases that are expected to take a while to settle, monthly payouts to help cover your ongoing living expenses can be arranged. Getting settlement loans quickly. For lower amounts, $500 to $1,000, decisions can be made within 24 hours or sooner. It usually takes 2 to 3 days for amounts up to $5,000, but for amounts greater than that, it will take a little longer. For a significant amount, the company will have your case file reviewed by their own attorneys. Alternatives to settlement loans. Traditional lenders, such as banks, will not loan money based on a potential lawsuit settlement, even one backed by an extremely solid case. They consider it to be too risky. Of course, interest-free loans from family may be better. Credit card advances may tide you over, but the interest rates are high. Both non-recourse and recourse funding involve interest payments and the rates vary. But if your cards and family are maxed out, this may be a good way to keep yourself afloat while waiting on your settlement. Your attorney is not allowed to loan you money while your case is being litigated or settled either. This is a rule of the American Bar Association and exists to protect you. If your attorney is owed legal fees and expenses and loans you cash on top of this, they might be tempted to accept a quicker settlement to get repaid instead of waiting on the amount you deserve. Types of cases for settlement loans. Many different types of cases may qualify for a settlement loan. Medical suits such as asbestos, pharmaceutical claims such as Fen-Phen, Zyprexa, Vioxx, etc., medical malpractice, mesothelioma, nursing home malpractice, or primary pulmonary hypertension (PPH) suits. Accident suits such as auto accidents, aviation accidents, construction negligence, FELA, railroad, Jones Act, maritime, motor vehicle and passenger injury, pedestrian injury, personal injury, premises negligence, slip and fall, trucking accidents, and wrongful death. Civil suits such as breach of contract, civil rights, class action lawsuits, commercial litigation, copyright or other intellectual property litigation, divorce, employment discrimination, environmental litigation, fraud, general negligence, inheritance, legal malpractice, litigation funding, mass tort, product liability, securities fraud, sexual harassment, whistleblower, qui tam, workers' compensation, wrongful termination, as well as others. Non-recourse settlement loans. Some settlement companies are effectively buying a piece of your lawsuit settlement from you by advancing you the money you need. If your lawsuit doesn't result in any funds, you don't owe the company any money. They are basically betting you will win and giving you money based on the merit of your case, expecting to get a percentage of your settlement when it comes in. The limit to the cash advance you can get is typically 10 to 15% of your anticipated settlement amount. Recourse settlement loans. Other types of settlement companies simply loan you funds based on the merit of your lawsuit and require repayment of the amount in a certain amount of time with additional funds, interest, to be repaid with the principal. This is not to be used for legal or medical advice. Before making any decisions, always consult with a qualified attorney or medical doctor.
I'm right here for you. Hold it near, hold it dear to you. I'm right here for you.
When you hire an attorney to represent you, he or she will either charge you a flat rate, hourly rate, or your case will be handled on what's called a contingency. This means you will only pay your attorney when the case is resolved and you receive a judgment or settlement. Your attorney will take a percentage and you will receive the rest. Unfortunately, resolving a lawsuit sometimes takes years, and depending on your financial situation, you may need money right away. Attorneys are often prohibited from loaning their clients money, and if you can't get a loan elsewhere, your options may be limited, especially if you can't work anymore because of your injuries. In these cases, litigation funding services are available to forward you money free based on the likelihood you will receive a future money award. When you eventually do receive your money award, you will simply pay back the lender whatever is owed. If you have any questions, you can either speak with your attorney or a litigation funding representative.
If you've been injured, you might be wondering how much it would cost to hire a lawyer. Some people don't even try because they think it would be too costly. The good news is, most personal injury lawyers work on what's called a contingency fee basis. This means you don't have to have a lot of money to hire a lawyer. The lawyer will not charge you up front, but will take his or her fees out of whatever settlement or award the attorney attains for you. Usually, the attorney's fee is a percentage of the recovery. And if you lose the case, then the attorney doesn't get a fee either. Costs like filing fees and some office costs, though, are ordinarily the client's responsibility, either way it turns out. So with contingency fee agreements, just about anyone can afford to hire a lawyer if they've been injured. So if you've been injured and think you might have a case, don't wait any longer. Contact a personal injury attorney today.
Contingency fee agreements are a common type of fee agreement between an attorney and a client. They are not based on the usual hourly rate of the attorney, but rather on whether the client recovers an award or settlement in the case. The attorney will keep a percentage of the recovery as payment for services. If the client doesn't win the case and get an award or a settlement, then the attorney may not get paid either. Some attorneys provide for a different percentage if the case is settled early or if the case goes to trial. For more information on contingency fees, consult an attorney in your area.
Are you a plaintiff or an attorney involved in a lawsuit and need money to continue your case? Lawsuit funding may be the way to go. Lawsuit funding is one of those quiet secrets only a few people know about. This service has only been around for a few short years. In fact, most attorneys themselves don't even know about it. What is lawsuit funding, you ask? It is simply a funding company providing a cash advance to a plaintiff or attorney involved in a lawsuit. The funding company is betting that the plaintiff will win his or her case and will pay back the advance with some interest. This is a relatively new segment of the cash flow industry, but it is growing by leaps and bounds. In other words, based upon the strength of the case, the lawsuit funding company will provide in advance, normally 10 to 15% of the amount of money the plaintiff is expected to receive should he win his case. What makes lawsuit funding so exciting is that this advance is non-recourse. Non-recourse means that should the plaintiff not win his case, he does not owe the money back to the funding company. Why lawsuit funding? It's rather simple. It levels the lawsuit playing field. Typically, lawsuit defendants, large insurance companies, large manufacturers, banks, etc., have deep pockets. The plaintiffs, on the other hand, are normally average, ordinary citizens. These large companies tend to strain the process out, hoping that the plaintiff will run out of money and quickly settle the case for next to nothing. Take, for instance, slip and fall cases and auto accidents. These cases account for more than 3 million injuries each year in the U.S. Many result in job loss, severe injuries, paralysis, and head traumas. Some are even permanent and irreversible. Many require expensive medical care, the cost of which can easily bankrupt the family. This is where lawsuit funding comes in. A lawsuit funding advance gives the plaintiff enough money to pay his or her medical bills, mortgage payments, and other household bills. The problem is, most lawsuit plaintiffs do not know they can get a lawsuit funding advance. They can qualify for funding ranging from $250 to over $1 million for an individual case and up to $10 million in a commercial case. How does lawsuit funding work? It's simple and straightforward. The plaintiff fills out an application and submits it to the lawsuit funding company. The company contacts the plaintiff and his lawyer and asks background questions about the case. The company then sends the plaintiff a contract. The plaintiff signs the contract and the company transfers the money into the plaintiff's bank account or FedExes the funds directly to him, whichever way he prefers. Is lawsuit funding necessary? Of course it's not. If a plaintiff can get money easily from other sources, then they may wish to do so. Some of the options that have been used in the past are the use of high-rate credit cards, but of course the drawback there is you've got to pay those back immediately. Many folks have borrowed from family and friends. We absolutely do not recommend this because it never ends up well. Some have taken out bank loans, but good luck on this in this economy. And also, getting a home equity loan or a second mortgage is next to impossible. Nothing is as easy and risk-free as getting lawsuit funding. There are many advantages to using lawsuit funding. First, everything is confidential. There is no risk to the plaintiff at all. Applying is free and without obligation. There are no fees of any sort. There are no credit or employment checks. Bad credit, even no credit is okay. Approval is quick, sometimes in as little as 6 to 8 hours. Funds can be had the very same day. Funds can be used for any purpose whatsoever. The plaintiff pays back the advance only if he or she wins. If he or she loses, he or she pays nothing at all back. No attorney approval is necessary, and it's available for all types of civil and commercial lawsuits. Who is eligible for lawsuit funding? Well, anyone involved in a lawsuit, such as personal injury, product liability, auto accidents, patent infringement, malpractice, employment discrimination, fraud, breach of contract, negligence, class action, civil rights, whistleblower, workers' compensation, but not in all states, however, wrongful death, commercial litigation, etc. If you are represented by a lawyer, you may qualify. Spread the word. You can get an advance against your lawsuit. If you have a friend, family member, or business associate going through a lawsuit, let them know about this great new service.